Across a mountain range, then a desert, then another mountain range, then another desert, then another. That's the way you cross Nevada if you're going east to west or west to east. And Nevada was the only place that we had snow. It happened just outside a town called Ely, Nevada. Great old hotel there called Hotel Nevada. I usually tell a little story about that, but we won't get to that today. If you've got any questions, you can ask me about the Hotel Nevada. In any case, we were leaving the town of Ely. And I got to back up a bit and tell you, as you go to Ely, you will hit between Delta, Utah and Ely, Nevada is what's called the loneliest road in the United States. And how do we know it's the loneliest road in the United States? Because that's what it calls itself. That is the name, the official name of the road. Like Route 6 is Main Street here, I presume.
Right.
That stretch of Route 6 is called the loneliest road in the United States. It is indeed lonely. I think I saw maybe 3 or 4 or 5 houses in that 130-mile stretch between Ely and Delta. And you can walk in the middle of the road, no problem whatsoever. You'll hear a car coming miles and miles away because it's the only sound in the area. In any case, so we got to Ely, crossed the lines now. When Route 6 gets that by the way is a combination of Route 6 and 50. Page I will forget. That's why we have these numbers here, because I always forget to tell people what page we're on. Page 213. Go to 200 first. That's right. Go to 200. That's the loneliest road. And that's a stretch, as I said, between Ely and Delta, where it's actually a combination of Route 6 and Route 50. Now, when it gets to Ely, Nevada, it divides. Route 50 goes a little north and west. Route 6 goes a little south and west. Route 50 keeps that title of loneliest road. I can tell you the next stretch of Route 6 from Delta, Utah from Ely, Nevada to Tonopah, Nevada, 160 miles is lonelier than the loneliest road. I saw in that 160 miles maybe 2 or 3 ranches along the whole way, and that was it, nothing else. And I'm actually going to, we will get back to the snowstorm, I promise you, but I'm going to diverge a little bit and go to page 215. This is the story of Al and Carol Greek. They lived in San Diego for quite a long time, and they got tired of the city life, so they wanted to find some place where they could be pretty much alone. They chose a stretch, they chose a spot, actually, on Route 6, midway between Ely and Delta, about 75 miles, about 80 miles from the closest town. And they thought, well, we're going to get a quiet time here. It turns out that, by the way, when you leave either Ely or Delta, you'll see a sign that says, check your gas, next service is 160 miles. Well, apparently there are a lot of people who do not read signs or who don't believe signs, because before Al and Carol even finished building their house, there was a knock on the door. Can you help us out? We're out of gas. It happened so often that they actually put some gas cans in their garage after they got their garage finished, and they were still getting people coming, so they actually, to save themselves some trouble, they put a gas pump in front of their house. Big mistake for somebody who wants to be alone, because now, not only are people who don't know, who need gas stopping, everybody's stopping. Here we are. Can you get us? You have this gas? Do you have any food? Can we use your restroom? Etc. Etc. And people had all kinds of questions and problems that they came with. And if you look back at that loneliest road page, page 200, they actually had some people once came and said, "Can you help us out? We're lost." Now, how can you get lost on that particular and it bothered me for a long time. I think I came up with an answer. If somebody wants to ask me sometime, I'll be glad to answer you. And it's just my estimate, but I think I'm right. Of course, I always think I'm right. So that's the Al and Carol Street story. Now we're going to go back to the snowstorm. Remember, we're leaving Ely, Nevada, and Travis. Now I can tell you about the driver. His name is Travis Lindhorst, and people have this vision of Travis dropping me off. Travis driving alongside the road 20 miles an hour, 3 miles an hour, next to me, behind me, or ahead of me or something with the lights flashing, you know, all the worldly comforts I need right in the car there. No, Travis dropped me off in the morning, and next time I'd see him is when he's going to pick me up at night in the evening. Well, sometimes I'd call him up and say, you got to get here for a picture or something like that, because he was both the driver and the photographer for the trip. And I should add one little thing here. If you look on page 238, that's a picture of Travis with his parents. And you can see he's a mid-20s guy, and not bad looking, and single. So I didn't have to use my imagination for what he was doing after he dropped me off in the morning, because usually by the time I'd get back in the afternoon, he'd have already met one or two of the local young ladies in the area. And I guess it wasn't that hard, because there was a lot of small towns that went through, towns that would make Towanda look like a New York City. So a new young guy in town was a real curiosity. So anyway, so Travis dropped me off just outside of Ely, and that was at the bottom of what's called Ward Mountain, and it was the first time on the whole trip that we had any real substantial snow. So I wasn't worried. I figured it would go away. Well, by the time I got to the top of the mountain, I was a walking snowman. The snow didn't go away. And remember, this is a stretch. It's lonelier than the loneliest road. On a good day, you're not going to see very many cars. It was snowing. There was not a single car on the road. And it was one of the few times I was really worried about whether I would survive, because we had a little Geo Metro. That was our car. And I was thinking, you know, Travis had dropped me off at the bottom of Ward Mountain. What if he couldn't make it up the mountain in the snow? I would be stranded there with nothing. And I had visions of them finding my frozen body when the snow melted at the end of winter. But fortunately, you know, Travis did make it later. And in the meantime, the snow had stopped. And you know, there were a few cars on the road. Every one of those cars stopped. You know, there may be three or four cars the whole time, but every single one of them stopped, and they were all Indians from the Shoshone Reservation. It's about 10, 20 miles down a dirt road off Route 6. Really, really wonderful, friendly people, sort of like the people of Towanda. You know, but I think they may have had some second thoughts after they stopped, because I don't know if I can find the page now. If somebody wants to turn to California, the last chapter in the book, we'll see if we can find it real quick here. I can read myself a book, and I will need a book. I will need a book back eventually, if we get far enough into this thing. One more page. Oh. There, page, where's that, 222. Look on page 222. That's what I would have looked like, except covered with snow. If you notice I used socks for mittens. That's an old runner's trick. Socks are much more easy to use than gloves or mittens. For one thing, if they get wet or something goes wrong, you can always just throw them away, and you can put them in your pockets very easily. Just make sure they're very clean socks, not socks that you've used on your feet. So I had that, and I had the hat and the ratty old jacket. And these people are stopping and saying, "Are you okay? Do you need a lift? You're walking along this very lonely stretch of road, and it's been snowing." And my answer to them was always, "No, I'm fine. I'm just walking to Los Angeles." Well, you could see them as they drove away, kind of going like that, and probably being very happy that this crazy guy did not get into their car. By the way, one of those people who stopped, I told him I'd have somebody pick me up at the end of the day. He said, "Well, if he doesn't make it there, you can stay with me at the reservation." Travis did make it that day. We went back to Ely that night, and next day we did stay at the reservation. And we have a little story about that.